The air hung heavy with the scent of spices and gasoline. Sohravardi, a bustling district in Tehran, buzzed with life as usual. But on this day in April 2021, a tragedy was about to unfold. Mostafa Kalateh, a hardworking restaurateur, found himself at the heart of a nightmare. His own brother would be the architect of his demise. The very hands that should have protected him would be the ones to set him ablaze. The COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, casting a long shadow over businesses. Lockdowns were enforced, and restaurants like Mostafa's were forced to shut their doors. Desperation began to gnaw at him. He had a wife, Bahar, and a young son, Mahur, to provide for. Faced with mounting bills, Mostafa turned to his brother for help. Little did he know, this act of desperation would ignite a long-simmering conflict. Mostafa's brother owned a fruit shop, a small establishment passed down from their father. The shop, with its vibrant displays, stood in stark contrast to Mostafa's now shuttered restaurant. The lockdown had brought a surge in demand for fresh produce, and the fruit shop remained open. Mostafa approached his brother with a proposition, to work alongside him at the shop. However, the reunion was not met with the warmth Mostafa had hoped for. Years of unspoken resentment bubbled to the surface. The argument began innocuously enough, a disagreement over the arrangement of watermelons, but like a spark in a tinderbox, it quickly escalated. Words turned into accusations, accusations into threats. The shop became a pressure cooker of rage. Mostafa found himself face to face with a fury he had never witnessed in his brother. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through Mostafa's anger. Witnesses would later recount the horror they felt as the argument spiraled out of control. The brother grabbed a container of gasoline, a common sight in shops for fueling generators. He doused Mostafa with the volatile liquid and struck a match. The world erupted in a blinding flash of light and heat. Bahar Yari's world shattered with the news of her husband's attack. The life they had built together was reduced to ashes in a single horrific moment. Yet, amidst the grief, a steely resolve began to take hold. She rushed to the hospital, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and dread. Mostafa, his body ravaged by burns, clung to life. The doctors prepared her for the worst. Mostafa fought for his life for days, clinging to the hope of seeing his son one last time, but the damage was too extensive. Bahar's world went dark. She vowed to be her husband's voice to ensure that his murderer would be held accountable. The legal proceedings were a blur of testimonies, evidence, and agonizing delays. Bahar, her voice trembling with grief and anger, recounted the events leading up to the attack. Witnesses corroborated her story, painting a chilling picture of the brothers' rage and premeditation. The evidence was overwhelming. However, the case took a devastating turn. Mostafa's own parents forgave their youngest son. Their forgiveness had devastating legal ramifications. The brother was eventually sentenced to 6 years in prison for public murder. But even this small victory was snatched away as the brother escaped to Turkey. Bahar turned to social media, using Instagram to share her story and demand justice for Mostafa.